If you want to perform better, improve your manner or quality of functioning, can you please stand up? Thank you. Please stay standing. If you suffered from trauma in your life, please sit down. Please sit down. And those who sit down, those who suffered from trauma, please. Okay. So we have about 20% of the room sat down. Thank you very much. Please, we'll get back to this in a little bit. My name is Doug Smith, and I was an elite NHL hockey player at the age of 18. At age 29, I went full speed headfirst into the end boards and shattered the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae in my neck. 3 surgeries later, I woke up in ICU a quadriplegic. No bladder, no bowels, no arms, no legs. Tonight, I am here to speak with you about a system and an awareness that I have used in my life to improve my mental performance and to recover from trauma and injury. I like to call that system 4, 3, and 8. The 4 types of trauma. Number 1, catastrophic physical trauma. We know when we suffer a catastrophic physical trauma because we can see the symptoms. Number 2, catastrophic emotional trauma. We know when we suffer from a catastrophic emotional trauma because we can see the symptoms. Cumulative physical trauma, like a concussion. We know when we suffer from cumulative physical trauma because we see the symptoms, but tragically, sometimes it's too late. And number 4, cumulative emotional trauma. Cumulative emotional trauma looks and smells like carbon monoxide to our brain. We can't see it, and we can't smell it. But it has symptoms. Dreading Monday mornings. That feeling in your gut when you're going to work at a place that you don't want to go to work. Looking forward to the weekends. Those are symptoms. Cumulative emotional trauma is our ticking time bomb. And this is how I disarm it. The 3 priorities of the subconscious brain. Your subconscious brain is your 800-pound gorilla. Where does an 800-pound gorilla sit when it comes in the room, please? Wherever it wants. Your subconscious brain is 97+% of your functioning. And it only has 3 priorities. Meeting basic needs, a roof over your head, food on the table, warmth. Clarity of thought, the type of thought that you can achieve through meditation, yoga, relaxation techniques. Your subconscious brain loves to think clearly. And number 3, helping other people. Your subconscious brain loves to help other people, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You can hold a door for somebody and be aware of it. You can pick up a piece of garbage on the ground that isn't yours and you can put it in the garbage can. Or you can give up that spot in the Walmart parking lot to somebody who wants it more than you and be aware of it. 8 behaviors that feed the 3 priorities of the subconscious brain. Number 1, belief in self. I was put into Forrest Gump ankle to hip leg braces as a child. No one would have ever predicted I would make it to the National Hockey League by the age of 18. My mother built my belief. She protected me, she supported me, and she told me that I could do anything. When I was 16, playing junior hockey, my mother would follow the bus for 500 miles to watch one hockey game. And I think we all know what it feels like to have somebody in the stands that we care about and that cares about us. Belief in self is a competitive advantage. Behavior number 2, motivation. Motivation increases our risk tolerance. When you're allowed to do what you want to do, when you're good at what you do, and when you can relate what you do to others, self-determination theory, you're motivated. And it raises your risk tolerance, so you take chances, and we need to take chances to succeed. Number 3, focus. I was diagnosed with ADD, ADHD at age 13. Instead of putting me on medication, my parents took me to meditation. Focus can be cultivated. Focus is a competitive advantage. And number 4, trust. When I played with these guys growing up in Nepean, we trusted each other and we won. Trust allows me to rapidly internalize your belief in me. University of Parma, study of mirror neurons. We now know that the brain extends beyond the confines of the skull. Selling is a transfer of feeling. And we're all selling. All of us. Boom, 4 of the behaviors. I made it to the NHL. Those are the only 4 you need to make it to the NHL. Drafted 2nd overall behind Dale Hawerchuk. This was my first office. When I arrived in LA, the Los Angeles Kings, first year of the 18-year-old draft, didn't know whether they wanted to keep me or not. So they put me in the 2-star Airport Park Hotel in the parking lot of the Los Angeles Forum beside the racetrack, you know it. I did what anybody would have done at 18. I went to the bank, I withdrew a bag of cash, an Adidas bag full of cash, and I went down to the Porsche dealership and I bought a brand new black turbo Porsche. Within a couple of weeks, the LA Kings security gave me a loaded .38 long barrel to keep under my seat, just in case I needed it. Unbelievable. 2 months later, I was called into the general manager's office. There's probably some people here who know what that's like. And he said, Doug, you can go get a place to live. You're going to stick with us this year. An 18-year-old driving a black turbo Porsche with a loaded .38 under his seat was supposed to go find a place to live in Los Angeles, California. The Los Angeles Kings were not set up to deal with 18-year-olds. They were not set up to deal with 18-year-olds. After a while, I started to feel like it didn't matter. By year 3, I felt something was wrong and I needed to get out, and I asked to be traded. And they said, no, you were too high a draft pick. We can't trade you. By year 4, I was a healthy scratch. The second best player in the world 4 years earlier was sitting in the press box, physically fine, but mentally I couldn't play the game anymore. Finally, the team hired Pat Quinn, the 5th coach that I had had in 4 years. And Pat could see that there was something wrong, and he agreed that he would trade me. And he did. Pat Quinn was a good man. Scotty Bowman was the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. They had lost 5 games in a row. He had been trying to trade for me since the draft. He fired Jim Schoenfeld, went back behind the bench, and he made the trade for Doug Smith. And when he picked me up at the airport, Scotty Bowman, the winningest coach of all time, picked me up at the airport. And in the car, he told me that he had always believed in me and that he thought I could be one of the best players in the National Hockey League. He started me at center the next night, and I scored 13 seconds into my first game. Broke a 5-game losing streak. We won 5 games in a row. My line of Mike Foligno and Paul Cyr had 27 points between us in just 5 games. I was on one of the top lines in the National Hockey League. I'm here to share with you that no matter how curled up you are, no matter how much pain you're in, no matter how confused you are, you can turn it around, and you can turn it around in a snap. It starts right here. I've learned in my life that it starts here, not here. This was the third game in that streak. I was doing TV commercials. I was on the side of the building, all in a matter of weeks. And then this happened. The impact force that I experienced was the same as you accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 1/3 of a second. My neck was shattered in hundreds of pieces. And as I lay on the ice, knowing I had broken my back, I became aware. I became aware of all of the times I had treated people badly, the times that I had misbehaved, and I made a commitment to myself. I made a pact with myself that I would go back if I survived. And I would ask for forgiveness, and I would apologize for my behavior. And I have. Awareness is a competitive advantage. Asking for help when I played in the National Hockey League, asking for help was a sign of weakness. It was not a sign of strength. When somebody asks you for help, what you're seeing somebody with their ego in check. Asking for help is a sign of strength. It is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a competitive advantage. Number 7, emotional control. I was paid a lot of money in the National Hockey League to lose emotional control. I would get 2 minutes in the penalty box for what you would get 15 years to life for on the street. Emotional control. When I lost emotional control, I got on the front page of the sports section. I got rewarded for losing emotional control. When I broke my neck, I learned that losing emotional control hurts other people. And when you hurt other people, you hurt yourself. Emotional control is a competitive advantage. And finally, purpose. What could you write down in 2 minutes and pass to the person next to you that would compel them to pass it to somebody else? That's your purpose. My purpose is simple. My purpose today is to meet basic needs, to work on my clarity of thought so that my mental performance goes up, and to help other people in any way that I can. Don't play the lottery with your success in life or your success in business. Use a system. A system is here now. Use a system. If any of you here or anybody in your family has suffered from any of the traumas that I put on the screen during this presentation, can you please stand up? If anybody in your family, anybody close to you, you have suffered from any of these trauma, felt that in your gut. We all suffer from trauma, 80%. Thank you.